He stepped out of the arrivals area of NAI Terminal 3 wearing a faded gray hoodie, cheap rubber shoes, and a backpack that cost less than one meal at a business-class lounge. No one recognized him. That was the point. Back home, his name carried weight. Boardrooms fell silent when he entered. Assistants stood straighter. Governments returned his calls. He was the CEO of a multinational company with operations across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, employing tens of thousands of people, including several thousand Filipinos spread across offices, factories, and remote teams. But here in Manila, he was just another foreigner sweating under the tropical heat, waiting in line for a taxi while pretending not to notice the chaos. His name was Daniel Weiss, German-born, educated in Switzerland, living mostly between London and Singapore. For years, he had signed reports about labor efficiency in the Philippines, cost advantages, and high employee resilience. The spreadsheets were clean. The metrics were impressive. Profits were good. But something bothered him. Turnover was low in the Philippines, almost suspiciously low compared to other countries. Productivity remained high even during crises, pandemics, floods, economic shocks. Filipino employees stayed loyal in ways numbers couldn't explain. Exit interviews rarely complained about money alone. Instead, they talked about family, dignity, gratitude, and yurang na loob, a concept Daniel never fully understood. So he decided to see things himself. No PR team, no local executives, no hotel drivers holding his name on a sign. Just Daniel, disguised as a backpacker, renting a small room in a budget hostel in Ermita, and planning to live like an ordinary person for a few weeks. The first shock came before he even left the airport. A taxi driver tried to overcharge him, nothing extreme, just a foreigner price. When Daniel politely questioned the fare, the driver hesitated, then laughed and corrected it. "Sorry, sir." "Automatic no minsan," the driver said, half apologetic, half embarrassed. Daniel noted it mentally. Not anger, not confrontation, just an awkward admission. Human, flawed, but not malicious. On the drive to Manila proper, traffic crawled. Jeepneys swerved like stubborn fish. Motorcycles slipped through impossible gaps. Vendors sold snacks between lanes as if this was the most normal thing in the world. Back home, this would be chaos. Here, it was rhythm. The next morning, Daniel walked the streets. He passed office workers in pressed clothes commuting 2 hours to jobs that barely paid enough. Street vendors setting up before sunrise. Security guards greeting everyone with the same polite tone, whether it was a local resident or a foreign tourist. He bought breakfast from a small carinderia. Fried egg, rice, a bit of longanisa. The woman serving him smiled like she had known him for years. "First time in the Philippines?" she asked. "Yes," he lied. "Welcome, eat well. You need energy." "Manila is tiring," she said, laughing. He paid. She gave him extra rice without charging. "Why?" he asked. She shrugged. "Muka kang pagod. You look tired." That small moment stayed with him longer than any corporate presentation. Over the next days, Daniel did something unusual for a man like him. He listened. He rode jeepneys and overheard conversations about bills, school fees, relatives abroad. He sat in cafes and talked to call center agents working night shifts. He chatted with security guards who had college degrees but no job openings in their fields. One night, he struck up a conversation with a young woman named Grace at a convenience store. She wore a headset around her neck, eyes heavy with exhaustion. Night shift. She worked customer support for an American company. "How long have you been doing this?" Daniel asked. 6 years, she said. "Since I was 20. Do you like it?" She paused. "I like that it pays the bills. I like that my younger brother is in school. I like that my parents don't worry as much. That's a lot of responsibility," he said. She smiled. Filipino default setting. He laughed, but she was serious. Later, he asked about promotions, salary growth, work conditions. Grace explained calmly, without bitterness. The company was okay. Management was distant but fair. The real struggle was not work, it was life around it. Transportation, healthcare, rising prices. But you stay? Daniel asked. Yes, she said. Work is work. Family is forever. Daniel realized something uncomfortable. In his company's internal surveys, Filipino employees rated job satisfaction as high not because work was easy, but because expectations were different. Stability mattered more than prestige. Respect mattered more than titles. That wasn't captured in charts. The real shock came when Daniel decided to visit one of his own company's local offices. Not as a CEO, as an applicant. He borrowed a cheap button-down shirt, printed a simple resume under a fake name, and walked into the building. The receptionist greeted him warmly. "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" "I'm applying for an entry-level role," Daniel said. She handed him a form and explained the process patiently. No arrogance, no rush. While waiting, he observed. Employees greeted each other by name. Someone offered coffee to a colleague who looked stressed. A supervisor gently corrected a mistake without raising her voice. Laughter existed, even in a tight schedule. In Europe, this would be considered unprofessional. Here, it was survival. When Daniel was called for an interview, a young HR officer asked him standard questions. But then she asked something unusual. "Sir, what motivates you to work?" He hesitated, then answered honestly. "To be useful." She nodded. "That's good. Skills can be trained. Attitude is harder." That line hit him harder than expected. After the interview, she thanked him sincerely, even though she had no idea who he was. As Daniel walked out, he felt something unfamiliar. Guilt. Not because his company was abusive, wasn't, but because he realized how much invisible effort Filipino workers poured into systems that barely acknowledged their humanity. The next week, he visited Tondo with a local volunteer group. They distributed meals and school supplies. Children smiled easily. Parents apologized for things they didn't need to apologize for. "Sorry, sir, malit lang bahay namin," one mother said. Daniel looked around. It was small, yes, but clean, organized, alive. He had seen executives apologize less for billion-dollar mistakes. That night, back in his hostel room, Daniel couldn't sleep. He replayed everything: the extra rice, the patient HR officer, Grace's calm acceptance of responsibility, the quiet pride of people who had so little yet shared so much. He realized the Philippines wasn't cheap labor. It was underpriced dignity. Before leaving Manila, Daniel broke his disguise, but quietly. He invited several Filipino managers and employees to a small meeting, revealing who he was. Shock, laughter, disbelief. One manager asked carefully, "Sir, was something wrong?" Daniel shook his head. No, something was missing. From me, he told them what he saw, what he felt, what he learned. Then he announced changes, not dramatic, not flashy. Better transportation allowances, mental health support, clearer promotion pathways, leadership training focused on empathy, not just metrics. Policies shaped around Filipino realities, not imported assumptions. No grand speeches. Just adjustments grounded in respect. When Daniel left the Philippines, no headlines followed him, no viral photos, no applause. But months later, productivity rose not because people were pushed harder, but because they felt seen. Grace received a promotion and sent her brother to college. The HR officer became a team lead. And Daniel, back in his glass-walled office overseas, kept a photo on his desk, not of Manila's skyline, but of a small carinderia. A reminder that leadership doesn't begin in boardrooms. Sometimes it begins with extra rice. And the shock wasn't what Manila lacked. It was how much it gave without being asked.